Chapter 113, Gift of the Pill. When Su Jingzhen heard Luo Yuebai's words, his expression changed slightly. He only knew that Feng Qingye had mentioned that the breaking through adversity pill could have an effect comparable to a third-grade or even fourth-grade pill under certain circumstances. However, Feng Qingye had never mentioned that the difficulty of refining this pill was comparable to that of a third-grade pill. I had thought that even with dozens of medicinal materials, I couldn't refine it, and it turns out there was such a reason, Su Jingzhen muttered to himself. Just then, without waiting for Su Jingzhen to say anything, Luo Yuebai suddenly spoke up. "Friend Su, would you be willing to part with this breaking through adversity pill and sell it to me? Don't worry, I'll definitely offer a higher price than the market value. I just want to celebrate your promotion to a second-grade alchemist and keep it as a memento." As he spoke, Luo Yuebai's eyes were fixed on the jade bottle in Su Jingzhen's hand, filled with anticipation. Su Jingzhen, however, smiled faintly and casually tossed the jade bottle to Luo Yuebai. "I've been staying here for free, and I've been troubling you to send me to Clear Wind Mountain. What's the point of talking about buying and selling? Since you like this pill medicine, I'll just give it to you." Perhaps this breaking through adversity pill was extremely valuable to many people. But Su Jingzhen was now a second-grade alchemist, and as long as he had enough medicinal materials, he could mass-produce this pill. Moreover, he was clear that one couldn't always receive without giving back. Up until now, Luo Yuebai might have only discovered some extraordinary aspects of him and wanted to pull him in, hence the constant flattery. Although he had previously been forced to join forces with the evil Moon sect after killing Chen Jinshi and Cao Qing, he had been enjoying the benefits brought by the sect without giving back. After receiving the jade bottle, Luo Yuebai's face also revealed a hint of surprise. "In that case, I should be grateful," he said. As his words fell, Su Jingzhen suddenly saw a line of golden characters flashing before his eyes. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 119. It seemed that he had triggered a double emotional connection with Luo Yuebai. This again made Su Jingzhen feel a sense of wonder. He then looked up at the sky, where the night was gradually deepening. Su Jingzhen said, "It's getting late, and I've exhausted a lot of energy refining this breaking through adversity pill. I think I'll take a rest." After all, there was an emotional connection between the two, and Su Jingzhen still felt a bit uneasy about this relationship. In this atmosphere, he didn't want to linger with Luo Yuebai. Luo Yuebai smiled and nodded. "If you need anything, feel free to come find me. In the evil Moon sect of Linjiang City, my words carry weight." Su Jingzhen nodded and didn't say anything more. He directly returned to his room. Luo Yuebai remained standing in the courtyard for a few seconds, then smiled, his mouth curving upwards. This friend Su is indeed becoming more and more surprising. As he muttered to himself, Luo Yuebai glanced at the jade bottle in his hand, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. The night passed quietly. The next morning, before dawn, Su Jingzhen had just opened his eyes when he saw the golden characters floating in front of him again. Days until the host's dantian is permanently shattered, 491. Fixed daily points, Shuangjiang, 15 Zhangziu, for Feng Qingye 2 Luo Yuebai, 2. Remaining usable points, 142. The daily fixed points had become the main source of Su Jingzhen's current points. Every time he saw these points, he felt a sense of excitement. "Today, I should go to the treasure-gathering pavilion again." Muttering to himself, Su Jingzhen took out the alchemy furnace again. He still had 39 sets of breaking through adversity pill materials on hand, and he took out 9 sets. "Just these will do, let's see how many I can refine." Every time he went to the treasure-gathering pavilion, he needed to have something in hand to feel confident. However, since he had successfully refined the breaking through adversity pill yesterday, today's operation seemed much smoother. At least, he was now quite experienced in controlling the fire and timing the fusion of the medicinal materials. Half an hour later, the 9 sets of materials had been transformed into 3 breaking through adversity pills by Su Jingzhen. A 30% success rate is indeed too low. Muttering to himself, Su Jingzhen directly placed the 3 breaking through adversity pills into the jade bottle. He then pushed open the door and walked out of the courtyard. Greetings, Taoist and Master Su. Just as he walked out of his small courtyard, he happened to meet Xianxia. She was covered in sweat and looked extremely exhausted. Su Jingzhen's expression showed a hint of curiosity. Are you practicing martial arts? Xianxia smiled bitterly. I'm sorry to make Master Su laugh, but I have to improve my strength somehow. Su Jingzhen nodded silently and didn't say anything more. He then quickly left the courtyard. Seeing this, the light in Xianxia's eyes dimmed again. As a servant, she didn't even have the qualification to call him Taoist friend. When Su Jingzhen's figure completely disappeared from her line of sight, Xianxia gritted her teeth, and a hint of stubbornness appeared in her eyes. She then began to perform some special movements in the courtyard. Her body was light and agile, her movements flowing like a cloud, and she seemed to possess a certain beauty. As for Xianxia's matter, Su Jingzhen didn't have any feelings about it and didn't put it in his heart. He quickly walked past the mountain gate of the Evil Moon sect and returned to the main street. Today, the main street was even more deserted, with more and more shops closed. It was clear that people were still fleeing. Su Jingzhen estimated that Luo Yuebai was giving the cultivators in Linjiang City time, and the Evil Moon sect wouldn't force them to stay. With a sense of wonder, Su Jingzhen arrived at the second floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion. This time he didn't choose to disguise himself and directly went upstairs with his true face. This scene shocked the scattered cultivators in the first-floor hall. Is that Su Jingzhen from Peach Blossom Alley? I didn't expect him to have the permission to go up to the second floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion. He's now a popular figure in the Evil Moon sect. Even if it's just because of the Evil Moon sect, going up to the second floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion isn't a big deal. That's not right. At the Hujiang sect's awakening ceremony, he killed the Foundation establishment cultivator Cao Qing. He's qualified to go up to the second floor. As the crowd discussed, Su Jingzhen had already gone up to the second floor. However, this time he didn't see Feng Qingye immediately. The chairs at the staircase were empty. Su Jingzhen raised an eyebrow but didn't choose to search around. He casually found a chair and sat down, waiting quietly. He knew that the second floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion had a small-scale spirit-gathering array, which would collect the spiritual energy and alert Feng Qingye. His arrival would surely be discovered by Feng Qingye soon. After all, Feng Qingye was the manager of this place, and wouldn't be able to stay here 24 hours a day waiting for him. Su Jingzhen sat patiently in his chair, and before he knew it, he had entered a meditative state. The spiritual energy on the second floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion was extremely dense, and although his dantian was still broken, he couldn't help but feel nourished by the energy. After half an hour, Su Jingzhen suddenly heard a faint sound in his ear. He opened his eyes to see Feng Qingye sitting across from him. It seems that I've made Master Su feel very at ease. You've entered a meditative state so easily, Feng Qingye said with a chuckle. Su Jingzhen was unaware of when Feng Qingye had arrived, but as soon as he opened his eyes, he began to recite the Clear Heart Sutra in his mind. Clear heart like water, clear water is the heart, gentle breeze without waves, no ripples. At this moment, Feng Qingye's hair was wet and scattered, and she was wearing a white long dress with a low neckline. Her skin was also slightly transparent, as if she had just taken a bath. This was an extremely alluring and seductive sight. Su Jingzhen's heart was racing, and even though he was reciting the Clear Heart Sutra, his face still showed some unnatural expressions. Feng Qingye's smile grew even more radiant when she saw this. Master Su, what's wrong? Are you unwell? As she spoke, Feng Qingye leaned forward, her face filled with concern. At this moment, her appearance was extremely alluring, even without intentionally using her charms. If Su Jingzhen didn't know that Feng Qingye was intentionally trying to seduce him, and if he wasn't aware that she wouldn't easily give in, he would have directly pounced on her like he did with the female cultivators at the Flower Moon Pavilion. But facing Feng Qingye's concern, Su Jingzhen quickly stood up and said, I'll wait for Miss Feng at the old place. Please change your clothes and come back, as we have important business to discuss. Feng Qingye's expression changed, and she looked surprised. Master Su has already successfully broken through to the second rank. You've refined the breaking through adversity pill. Otherwise, we don't have a second pill formula. Su Jingzhen let out a bitter laugh. Feng Qingye nodded seriously and then headed towards another room on the second floor. In the face of important matters, Feng Qingye naturally knew what to prioritize. Su Jingzhen let out a sigh of relief as he watched Feng Qingye leave. At the same time, a golden text suddenly appeared before his eyes. The news of his breakthrough had indeed caused a stir on Feng Qingye's side. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 148. And it directly triggered a 3-hit combo. Su Jingzhen walked back to the private room where he had previously traded with Feng Qingye. This woman's charm is too deep. If I continue to interact with her like this, I might not be able to control myself one day. After returning to the private room, Su Jingzhen recited the Clear Heart Sutra twice to suppress the evil flames in his heart. At the same time, he felt a bit strange in his heart. Whenever he was in front of Feng Qingye, the evil flames in his heart would easily surge up. He knew that this was not just due to Feng Qingye's charm. Before long, Feng Qingye changed into a purple long dress that fit her perfectly, showcasing her perfect figure. Although it was not as revealing as her previous bathing attire, it was still much better. At least in this attire, Su Jingzhen didn't need to recite the Clear Heart Sutra. Su Jingzhen didn't hesitate and directly took out the jade bottle containing the breaking through adversity pill. Inside, 3 round and smooth pills were quietly lying. Feng Qingye's expression remained extremely serious as she took the jade bottle and opened it, her eyes filled with anticipation. The fragrance of the pills instantly wafted out of the bottle. Feng Qingye's eyes sparkled even more brightly. Indeed, it's the breaking through adversity pill, and the quality is exceptional. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 150. After a surprised murmur, Feng Qingye added 2 more points. Her gaze then turned back to Su Jingzhen. Master Su's speed is faster than I imagined. Now, have the materials for the breaking through adversity pill been exhausted? I currently don't have many materials for the breaking through adversity pill, but I'm sending out a request to other branches for supplies. Master Su can wait for 2 more days. In Feng Qingye's view, the 80 portions of materials that could let Su Jingzhen directly break through to a second-rank alchemist and produce 3 finished breaking through adversity pills were already extremely excellent. However, Su Jingzhen smiled and said, I still have some materials for the breaking through adversity pill here. This time, I'm not here to fulfill the promise of giving Miss Feng the 10 breaking through adversity pills. Instead, I want to exchange these 3 pills for something. When Feng Qingye heard this, she was taken aback. Then she smiled and said, I wonder what Master Su needs this time. As long as I have it, Master Su can just ask. At this moment, Feng Qingye's gaze towards Su Jingzhen was even more fiery. Su Jingzhen didn't hesitate and directly stated his request. What kind of alchemy furnace can these 3 breaking through adversity pills be exchanged for? My previous furnace was a bit low level, and it would indeed have a slight impact on refining the breaking through adversity pill. Su Jingzhen was telling the truth about this. When Feng Qingye heard this, her eyes showed a hint of surprise. Then she burst out laughing. I thought it was something big, but it's just this. As she spoke, the blue gemstone ring on her hand flashed again. Then a black, ancient-style alchemy furnace appeared in the private room. It was clear that Feng Qingye had been carrying it with her. Su Jingzhen felt a sense of familiarity. Because the last time he registered as an alchemist, he had used this very furnace to refine 10 chireplenishing pills. This furnace is called Black Mountain, and it's one of my personal treasures, Feng Qingye said, but I'm not an alchemist, so it's been collecting dust. If the feeling of using it to refine pills last time was satisfactory to Master Su, then consider it a gift from me to Master Su. As she spoke, Feng Qingye's eyes sparkled. Su Jingzhen's mouth, however, was curved into a faint smile. He would always remember that when accepting a free gift from someone, don't accept a free gift from a qualified merchant. Su Jingzhen had already tried out this furnace before. The feel of it was naturally better than his own, not just by a little. The intricate fire control runes engraved on it were more complex, making it more convenient for controlling fire. Moreover, the flames produced by the Black Mountain Furnace's array were stronger than his own. He even felt that during alchemy, the Black Mountain could be used as a furnace, and during battles, it could be used as a magical tool. The breaking through adversity pill, although precious, was not as extraordinary as this Black Mountain Furnace. 3 breaking through adversity pills might be valuable, but they couldn't compare to this Black Mountain Furnace. A good horse deserves a good saddle, a sharp knife doesn't cut firewood. When it came to furnaces, since there was a better choice, Su Jingzhen naturally didn't want to settle for something inferior. This was unlike his previous choice between the storage ring and the storage bracelet. Storage-type spiritual artifacts only required sufficient space. Whether it was a ring, bracelet, or bag, it was all the same. Su Jingzhen's gaze turned back to Feng Qingye. These 3 breaking through adversity pills are far from enough to buy this Black Mountain Furnace. What else does Miss Feng have to request? Please go ahead and ask. If the debt of gratitude is too great, I'm afraid I won't be able to bear it. Su Jingzhen was very aware of this point, and had always done well in this regard. Feng Qingye's expression revealed a hint of surprise. Why can't it be a gift without any reason? Does Master Su think that Qingye is only motivated by self-interest? Regarding this question, Su Jingzhen nodded without hesitation. Miss Feng is first and foremost a merchant. As soon as he said this, Feng Qingye's smile grew even more radiant. It seemed that she had gained even more admiration for Su Jingzhen. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 152. At this time, her emotional change was naturally reflected in the points. Before Su Jingzhen could respond, Feng Qingye continued, "Do you remember the request I made last time I came? I need Master Su's help with something." At this time, Feng Qingye's face still wore that charming smile, but she no longer actively tried to seduce Su Jingzhen. Her expression revealed a hint of seriousness. Su Jingzhen's eyebrows suddenly furrowed. "It's not that I'm unwilling to help, but you, Miss Feng, haven't told me what you want me to do, so I'm really unsure. Now that I've successfully advanced to the 2nd rank, I suppose you should tell me what this favor is about." Regarding Feng Qingye's request, Su Jingzhen had naturally anticipated it. Since the two of them had already established an emotional connection, with no hostility between them, he knew that he and Feng Qingye were destined to be more deeply entangled. So Feng Qingye's urgent request, he would likely have to help, but how to maximize his own benefits from this favor was a delicate matter. If it was just a matter of helping with alchemy or something, Su Jingzhen wouldn't have any issues. Using this to exchange for the Black Mountain Furnace, no matter how you looked at it, he would come out on top. However, if it involved something that put his life in danger, no matter how good the reward was, he wouldn't agree to it. So for Su Jingzhen at this point, helping was possible, but he had to clarify the content. Although he wore a faint smile, his attitude was quite firm. Feng Qingye gazed at him quietly for a few seconds before nodding. Her expression then turned serious again. "Actually, the favor I want to ask of Master Su is quite simple. I just want you to refine a pill, of course, in collaboration with others." Before Su Jingzhen could speak, she continued, "I'm sure Master Su has already noticed that my identity is not just that of the treasure-gathering pavilion's manager in Linjiang City. In the Qingzhou region's treasure-gathering pavilion, there are 5 major families. My family, the Feng family, is one of them, and I am one of the direct disciples of the current generation." Although Su Jingzhen had long suspected that Feng Qingye's identity was not simple, he hadn't expected it to be this complex. For most cultivators, the Qingzhou region was already the highest level of region they could access in their lifetime. The treasure-gathering pavilion undoubtedly held immense power in the entire cultivation world. As a direct disciple of one of the 5 major families in the Qingzhou region's treasure-gathering pavilion, Feng Qingye's identity seems to be described as a proud daughter of heaven. No wonder Feng Qingye had been able to intimidate the nascent soul-old monster Jiuqi with just a single token bearing the Feng family crest on the square that day. However, upon hearing Feng Qingye's words, Su Jingzhen's heart was filled with doubts. "Miss Feng, your identity is indeed noble, something I had never expected. But precisely because of this, would there be something you want to do that you can't?" To put it bluntly, he, Su Jingzhen, is just a second-grade alchemist. Apart from Xianxia, who had already left and whose identity was unknown, he didn't have any background or connections. Even now, he had only just reached the level of foundation establishment cultivators in terms of his body cultivation. But in front of the mighty Feng family, he was probably just an insignificant ant. Upon hearing Su Jingzhen's doubts, Feng Qingye's face revealed a bitter smile. "It's true, but how did I, a direct disciple of the Feng family, end up as the manager of a lowly treasure-gathering pavilion in Linjiang City?" Feng Qingye's words were a rhetorical question, but also a form of self-mockery. As soon as she spoke, Su Jingzhen's expression changed slightly. Any major family had internal conflicts, and even direct disciples could become sacrificial pawns. He didn't need to ask to know that Feng Qingye's situation was likely complicated. Relying on family power might make her identity unmatched and her resources unparalleled. But if one only had this identity, but was stripped of all resources, that would be truly pitiful. Before Su Jingzhen could respond, Feng Qingye continued, "My situation is very complicated, so I won't bother explaining it all to Master Su. You only need to know that I'm just a name, nothing more. Perhaps Master Su will understand why I've come to you." Su Jingzhen nodded silently. If one only had the identity of a core disciple, but lacked the matching resources, then this title would be a mockery. At the same time, his expression turned serious, as if Feng Qingye had already lost her standing within the Feng family. If he helped her, wouldn't he also be accompanied by danger? But when this thought came to his mind, he smiled bitterly. Damn it, this matter has not even started yet. He is here worrying about gains and losses, looking ahead and behind. It is indeed unworthy of the identity of a transmigrator. He immediately asked again, "Is it really just refining a pill?" Seeing Su Jingzhen's cautious demeanor, a smile appeared again at the corner of Feng Qingye's mouth. "Master Su, rest assured, it really is just for alchemy. Moreover, Qingye is asking Master Su possibly only to assist another person." Hearing this, Su Jingzhen's heart relaxed slightly. So he was just there to help with the menial tasks. He had heard that sometimes, when refining high-quality pills, one alchemist couldn't manage alone and needed the cooperation of several alchemists. It seemed that the pill Feng Qingye wanted to refine was such a case. At the same time, he felt a slight thrill in his heart. I wonder what grade of pill Miss Feng is trying to refine this time, that requires the cooperation of multiple alchemists. He was indeed curious about this. Feng Qingye once again showed a bitter smile, not as high as Master Su Imagine's, just a 4th-grade pill. However, as Qingye just mentioned, the resources I can mobilize now are only at this level. Su Jingzhen was stunned. Refining a 4th-grade pill required cooperation, which meant the person he needed to assist likely wasn't of a high grade either. But regardless, he was merely assisting, so he wouldn't bear the main responsibility for success or failure. In exchange for a Black Mountain pill furnace, it was worth it no matter what. In that case, I agree to help Miss Feng. Seeing Su Jingzhen finally agree, Feng Qingye's expression showed a hint of excitement. I knew Master Su wouldn't let Qingye down. We will set off from the treasure-gathering pavilion in 10 days. With these words, Su Jingzhen was stunned once again. Set off? To where? He looked at Feng Qingye in confusion. Feng Qingye laughed again. Did Master Su think we would refine it here? Linjiang City is just a small town. Qingye being sent here as a manager is almost like being exiled. As she spoke, there was a flash of light in Feng Qingye's eyes. Su Jingzhen felt a strong sense of unwillingness from her words. His brows furrowed suddenly, feeling that he had unknowingly been tricked by Feng Qingye again. and it seemed he was truly about to get involved in Feng Qingya's family struggle. Despite having lived 2 lives, he still seemed to be a bit careless. But at this point, Su Jingzhen could only muster a bitter smile in his heart. After all, he had already agreed to help. Moreover, if he didn't want to give up on the points from Feng Qingya, he would inevitably have to get deeply involved. Otherwise, their empathetic relationship might remain at no hostility, which was not what Su Jingzhen wanted. Seeing Su Jingzhen's slightly dazed expression, Feng Qingya smiled again. "Master Su, don't worry, Qingya would never harm you. And now, this Black Mountain Pill Furnace is yours. Additionally, if you have any other requests, Master Su, please feel free to ask. Qingya will do her best to fulfill them. Tilda." As she spoke, Feng Qingya cast another flirtatious glance at Su Jingzhen. Combined with her soft and enticing voice, her words inevitably carried some ambiguity. The deal had been struck, and Su Jingzhen naturally knew that Feng Qingya was teasing him again. He didn't say much, simply walked over to the Black Mountain Furnace. With a flash of light from the storage bracelet on his hand, the furnace disappeared from its original spot. "This time, all I wanted was to exchange for a pill furnace. Now that it's done, I won't trouble you any further." With that, Su Jingzhen quickly left the private room as if escaping. He feared that if Feng Qingya made another bold move, he might truly embarrass himself here. He knew well the depth and cunning of this woman. What she showed him was merely the tip of the iceberg. After all, she was a core disciple of the Feng family, one of the 5 major families of the treasure-gathering pavilion. If he could conquer her immediately, Su Jingzhen would certainly not mind taking Feng Qingya down. But he also knew that if he showed even a hint of that inclination, he might end up being toyed with by Feng Qingya. Right now, with his cheat abilities, he was in a critical stage of development. He couldn't afford to be reckless. Watching Su Jingzhen leave the private room and quickly descend the stairs, Feng Qingya's smile widened. This smile lacked any seductive intent, but was rather radiant. She looked at the jade bottle in her hand, which contained 3 breaking through adversity pills, and her eyes shone even brighter. "These 3 breaking through adversity pills are of the highest quality. I wonder how many portions of ingredients he used to refine these 3 pills. With such skill, he should be touching the threshold of 3rd grade, right? I never thought that being sent to Linjiang City would allow me to find such a treasure. Perhaps this is destiny." As she spoke, a boundless ambition glinted in Feng Qingya's eyes. At this moment, just as Feng Qingya walked out of the private room, Elder Mu suddenly appeared on the 2nd floor. Elder Mu's expression was somewhat grave. Feng Qingya raised an eyebrow. "Elder Mu, has something happened?" Elder Mu nodded. "There's some news, something major has occurred. But it has nothing to do with our treasure-gathering pavilion." After leaving the treasure-gathering pavilion, Su Jingzhen didn't loiter around the city. Following the main street, he returned to the Evil Moon sect. Having exchanged for the Black Mountain Pill Furnace, he was eager to try it out. With the support of this Black Mountain, the success rate of refining the breaking through adversity pill should be even higher, Su Jingzhen muttered to himself as he returned to his courtyard deep within the Evil Moon sect. Just as he was about to enter his courtyard, he saw Luo Yuebai already waiting for him in the yard. Luo Yuebai's expression was also grave. "Friend Su, did you go out early this morning?" Seeing Su Jingzhen return, Luo Yuebai's face, though still serious, managed a smile as he greeted him. Su Jingzhen was puzzled. He smiled back. "The morning is the best time of the day, so I took a stroll around the city." "But seeing your unusual expression, has something happened?" Upon hearing this, Luo Yuebai nodded. "This morning I received some news." As he spoke, Luo Yuebai's expression turned even more solemn and serious. Su Jingzhen looked at him with continued puzzlement. Luo Yuebai didn't keep him in suspense. Just last night, the Huyang sect, or rather, the main Huyang sect, was destroyed. All the Golden Core stage and above cultivators in the sect were killed. Even their hidden nascent soul patriarch, who came out of seclusion, couldn't turn the tide and was killed with a single palm strike. Moreover, it said that from start to finish, only one person invaded the Huiyang sect, and they were only interested in the high-level Golden Core and above members. Hearing this, Su Jingzhen was stunned. He couldn't help but recall that tall figure. As Luo Yuebai described the events, he could almost be certain that the one who destroyed the Huiyang sect was none other than Shuangjiang. From the beginning, he knew that the events on Clear Wind Mountain were related to Shuangjiang. Shuangjiang had also stated that the opportunities everyone was vying for belonged to her. Su Jingzhen had previously said that the seemingly endless opportunities everyone was fighting over were actually a source of disaster. Today, that prediction came true. It was likely that after leaving Clear Wind Mountain, Shuangjiang went straight to the main Huiyang sect. After all, during the recent events on Clear Wind Mountain, the majority of the opportunities had been seized by the Huiyang sect. Such is the balance of karma. With a sigh of lament, Su Jingzhen's face showed a look of shock. The main Huiyang sect was destroyed. Huiyang sect is considered a major sect in the Qingzhou region, right, who has the ability to take them down single-handedly. Luo Yuebai had no doubts about Su Jingzhen's reaction. At this moment, Luo Yuebai also had a tinge of lament on his face. Previously, Long Yunfei and the sect master of the Linjiang branch joined forces to obtain most of the opportunities on Clear Wind Mountain. The other sects thought that the Huiyang sect was going to rise to new heights. Who would have thought that this would bring disaster instead? I suspect that a passing superpower in the Qingzhou region was interested in the opportunities the Huiyang sect had acquired and thus made a move. Luo Yuebai's analysis was well-reasoned. He did not associate this incident with Shuangjiang. After all, the strong members of the Evil Moon sect he had sent out yesterday had all returned. They had scoured the canyon on Clear Wind Mountain and its surrounding area for dozens of miles. They found no trace of the supposed mystical land. He had come to somewhat believe that Shuangjiang was still cultivating in the canyon. After all, Shuangjiang had scared away senior Jiuqi, so her cultivation level must be extraordinarily high. It was reasonable to believe she could conceal a secret realm. Su Jingzhen sighed in agreement. As they say, misfortune lurks in fortune, fortune hides in misfortune. Hearing this, Luo Yuebai paused and his eyes lit up. Immediately, golden words appeared before Su Jingzhen's eyes. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 154. Friend Su is right, but with the Huiyang sect's high-level members wiped out, the lower ranks will likely scatter as well. The various sects in the Qingzhou region will undoubtedly take action. A major sect has fallen, and there's plenty of benefit to be reaped from it. We can foresee that Qingzhou won't be peaceful in the coming days, Luo Yuebai said, his tone carrying a hint of excitement. Su Jingzhen raised an eyebrow. So, the Evil Moon sect also wants a piece of the pie. Luo Yuebai chuckled, naturally. In a one-on-one confrontation in the Qingzhou region, no sect can match our Evil Moon sect. The Clear Wind Mountain incident allowed us to establish a branch sect in Linjiang City. Now that the Huiyang sect has fallen, our Evil Moon sect will undoubtedly make some moves. The power dynamics in Qingzhou indeed need some changes. To this, Su Jingzhen merely nodded. This matter didn't concern him for the time being. No matter how the power structure in Qingzhou changed, as long as the Evil Moon sect remained stable, he could stay safely in the Linjiang City branch without any issues. It's important to do things according to one's level. This point was very clear to Su Jingzhen. He would never aim too high. Moreover, he still had 10 days to prepare for helping Feng Qingye. Even if he didn't gain points from Luo Yuebai and Feng Qingye during these 10 days, he would still accumulate 230 points daily from his fixed sources. By then, whether he used the points to enhance his spiritual roots or to open another secret repository, his confidence would be significantly boosted. As he thought of this, Su Jingzhen glanced towards Clear Wind Mountain. Perhaps he could also explore the secrets of that mystical place within these 10 days. Thinking of this, Su Jingzhen looked at Luo Yuebai beside him. Friend Luo, you wouldn't personally get involved in the Huiyang sect incident, would you? Luo Yuebai shook his head. Not at all. My current duty is to stabilize Linjiang City. Now that things are mostly settled, we'll just wait a couple of days to hold a celebration and announce it to the world. Su Jingzhen nodded slightly and said, "In that case, I might trouble friend Luo to take me to the Clear Wind Mountain Canyon once more." Hearing this, Luo Yuebai's expression became serious again, and his curiosity was piqued once more. "All right." Without another word, he tossed the folding fan in his hand into the air, and it transformed into a giant fan, over 3 meters wide. Luo Yuebai quickly brought Su Jingzhen back to the fog-shrouded canyon. They stopped once again at the spot where Zhang Ziyu had carved her inscription. "Thank you, friend Luo. If you have other matters to attend to, you may leave. My wife, Shuangjiang, is at a critical juncture, and I might be staying here with her for quite some time," Su Jingzhen said to Luo Yuebai. Using Shuangjiang as a shield worked quite well in front of Luo Yuebai, at least. Of course. Luo Yuebai nodded with a smile, watching Su Jingzhen head deeper into the canyon. However, in the next instant, Luo Yuebai concealed his aura entirely and quietly followed Su Jingzhen. Yes, Luo Yuebai was still unwilling to give up on this so-called mystical secret realm Su Jingzhen had mentioned. "This time I'll follow you closely. I refuse to believe I won't find it," he thought. With his superior cultivation and heightened senses, he was confident he wouldn't be detected by Su Jingzhen. But as they walked further, Luo Yuebai suddenly noticed a change. To his astonishment, Su Jingzhen's presence and aura vanished entirely from his perception. "How is this possible? Is there truly a secret realm?" Luo Yuebai murmured, shocked, standing at the spot where Su Jingzhen had disappeared. In his perception and vision, there was nothing but a white expanse of mist. Even with his spiritual senses fully deployed and casting several powerful spells into the surrounding void, there was no change. Luo Yuebai continued to walk deeper into the canyon, but soon found himself emerging on the other side. "It seems this is indeed Shuangjiang's doing. To be able to conceal a secret realm, such cultivation," he muttered, taking a deep breath and returning to the cliff where Zhang Ziyu's inscription was carved. He sat down cross-legged once more. Having witnessed Su Jingzhen disappear right before his eyes, he was now entirely convinced of the existence of this mystical secret realm, but he had also given up on discovering it for now. His curiosity about Su Jingzhen and Shuangjiang, however, had only grown stronger. "One day I'll uncover the truth." Su Jingzhen had always known that Luo Yuebai was following him. He simply never paid much attention to it. He had a mark given by Shuangjiang on him, something Luo Yuebai didn't have. He also knew that Luo Yuebai had probably come here many times in private. But the reason this place was called a secret land was not because it was easy to find. After entering this place, Su Jingzhen put aside all distractions. He continued toward the center of the secret land. After another 5 or 6 steps, he felt a tremendous pressure ahead. His skin was once again cut by the powerful sword intent in the dense fog. Just like last time, Su Jingzhen took a step back to a range he could endure and began practicing the Python scale's power. Having the experience from the first time, he knew that there was unlikely to be any other danger in this space. Thus, he practiced with peace of mind. As he performed the moves of Python scale's power, the forces in the surrounding dense fog began to converge into his body once more. The strength of his blood energy increased bit by bit. In this position, by the 7th repetition, Su Jingzhen's stamina was nearly exhausted. At this moment, the surging spring points in both feet and the labor palace point in his right hand suddenly heated up. It seemed as if these 3 secret points were once again feeding back a large amount of energy. Su Jingzhen's body shook, and he felt that the strength of his blood energy had reached a new level. After opening the surging spring point in his right foot, his body cultivation had already reached the first layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo. And now, through his practice of Python scale's power, he had reached the second layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo. Although it was just a minor advancement, it was significant for Su Jingzhen. Because this progress was achieved through his own diligent practice of the body cultivation technique. He immediately checked his body cultivation sub-menu. Body cultivation, 3 secret points opened. Flesh body level, flesh body spiritual embryo, second layer. Next secret point to explore, Labor Palace left 0/200. On the body cultivation submenu, the cultivation level had already been updated. Seeing this, Su Jingzhen became even more motivated. However, he only practiced Python Scales Power one more time before stopping. Since I've broken through, perhaps I can rest now. Today's body cultivation will end here. A balance of work and rest will help me go further. Muttering to himself, Su Jingzhen gazed at the dense fog-covered center. His expression showed a hint of curiosity once again. What exactly was inside? With this curiosity, Su Jingzhen stepped toward the center. However, despite reaching the second level of the flesh-body spiritual embryo, he could only take 10 steps before the pressure became insurmountable, making it impossible for him to move forward. His sweat was mixed with a bit of blood once more. Yet, the energy that entered his body during his practice of the Python Scales Power seemed to have become even more concentrated. Never mind, take it slow. Since Shuangjiang mentioned there would be opportunities here, they must be meant for me. After a brief attempt, Su Jingzhen retreated to the edge of the secret land. Then he took out the Black Mountain alchemy furnace. He felt extremely calm at this moment. Moreover, with no one to disturb him, this was indeed an excellent place for alchemy. At this time, Su Jingzhen still had 30 sets of ingredients for the breaking through adversity pill. He took them all out and placed them beside the furnace. With a focused mind, he carefully sensed the new Black Mountain alchemy furnace. Then he started the alchemy process, sensing the ingredients and lighting the furnace. Recalling all the steps of refining the breaking through adversity pill, he added the ingredients one by one. Using the inscriptions on the Black Mountain alchemy furnace to control the temperature and size of the flame, soon a whiff of pill fragrance emanated from the furnace. Su Jingzhen lightly patted the furnace, and a smooth breaking through adversity pill flew out. At this moment, Su Jingzhen suddenly noticed that this pill had an inexplicable aura of spiritual energy, seemingly of higher quality than the ones he had refined before. Could it be due to the rich spiritual energy here? Just the enhancement of the furnace shouldn't achieve this effect. Su Jingzhen had doubts in his mind, but he was still excited. After storing the pill, he started refining the second one without hesitation. However, the second batch of ingredients did not yield the same good fortune as before. Soon, a burnt smell emanated from the furnace. Alchemy failure. However, this did not deter Su Jingzhen in the slightest. He remained focused. Failure was just an opportunity to learn. He had never expected to maintain a 100% success rate like with chireplenishing pills and green spirit pills when refining the breaking through adversity pill of the second grade. That was unrealistic. Just as cultivation knows no age, neither does alchemy. As Su Jingzhen entered the alchemy state in the secret place, Luo Yuebai outside glanced up at the sky, which had begun to darken. He furrowed his brows. Could it be that this time, as friend Su said, he won't come out in a short time? Luo Yuebai muttered to himself, then glanced once more at the depths of the canyon. Without hesitation, he flew away on his fan. It had been a whole day since Su Jingzhen entered the canyon. He couldn't wait here forever. However, not long after Luo Yuebai left, Su Jingzhen emerged from the fog of the canyon. Arriving at the spot where Luo Yuebai had been, he couldn't help but smile wryly. It's already dark, it seems friend Luo has already left. Muttering to himself, Su Jingzhen had no intention of staying overnight in the secret place. After using 30 sets of breaking through adversity pill ingredients, he had harvested a total of 12 finished pills. With a success rate of 40%, this was quite good for most second-grade alchemists. However, Su Jingzhen was accustomed to almost 100% success rate and was somewhat dissatisfied. Looks like next time, I really need to enhance my wood attribute spiritual roots. Mysterious spirit root, it's just not quite enough. Muttering to himself, Su Jingzhen headed out of the canyon toward Clear Wind Mountain. Although his strength was comparable to a foundation establishment cultivator among Kai refiners, but damn, he really couldn't fly. He had tried to control his black brick. He really couldn't fly, as if flying with artifacts was exclusive to Kai refiners. Or maybe for body cultivators to fly with artifacts, they probably needed to reach the level of golden embryo in flesh body cultivation. This made him even more eager to repair his Danshan. Leaving aside other matters, just the ability to fly with artifacts was something he had long dreamed of in his past life. As he thought this, Su Jingzhen exited the canyon and leaped onto the treetops. Fortunately, he was at the second layer of flesh body spiritual embryo in body cultivation. Although he couldn't fly with artifacts, his agility was extraordinary, far beyond the ordinary Kai refiner. Stepping on branches, he could leap 3 or 4 zhang at a time with a little effort. At least he could perform lightfoot techniques like walking on walls and leaping on rooftops. However, before Su Jingzhen could descend the mountain, not long after leaving the canyon, there was a sudden disturbance in the dense forest below, and then a dark shadow suddenly lunged at him. This sudden black shadow was accompanied by a rather violent aura. Su Jingzhen was greatly startled. During his previous trips up the mountain with Luo Yuebai, everything had gone smoothly. He had forgotten about the monsters roaming Clear Wind Mountain. As the black shadow lunged at him, Su Jingzhen's blood energy instantly gathered at the surging spring points in his feet. With a powerful step on the treetop, Su Jingzhen struck a pose resembling a soaring eagle, rising 3 zhang high into the air. It seemed that the black shadow attacking him wasn't capable of flight. It only managed to leap 2 zhang out of the dense forest before losing momentum and falling back into the forest. Meanwhile, Su Jingzhen, after evading the sudden attack, naturally couldn't stay aloft in the void. His body quickly descended. However, during this process, he had already taken out the black brick. With preparations made, he wasn't afraid of what lay below. No matter what kind of monster it was, when it suddenly burst out, Su Jingzhen felt its aura. It seemed to be nothing more than a first-grade monster, comparable to the Kai refining stage. Soon, Su Jingzhen landed back on the same tree. He stood steadily on a small branch in the canopy. At this moment, he also caught sight of a pair of eerie green eyes in the dense forest. Upon closer inspection, it was a 2-meter-long black panther. At this moment, a hint of fierceness lingered in its green eyes. Under the cover of night, it was not easy to spot if it didn't actively attack. This kind of ranked monster, even if it was only the lowest grade, possessed some intelligence. They wouldn't dare provoke Foundation establishment cultivators who could fly with artifacts. But people who traveled on foot were seen as prey. This thing should be the legendary Black-Winged Panther. A first-grade monster, even at its peak, it's only at the level of perfection in the Kai refining stage. Body cultivators may be looked down upon by Kai refiners, but are we really soft targets for monsters as well? These low-level monsters didn't hide their aura. So after calming down, Su Jingzhen easily discerned the details of this Black-Winged Panther. However, I have no experience in battling monsters. Today, this Black-Winged Panther is practically asking for it. If it were a second-grade monster comparable to Foundation establishment, Su Jingzhen might have been a bit nervous. But the one in front of him was just a practice target. As Su Jingzhen muttered to himself, the Black-Winged Panther seemed to see an opportunity and suddenly pounced at him again. It was as if only a black shadow flashed before Su Jingzhen's eyes, and the Black-Winged Panther's claws were already close. So fast. Even though Su Jingzhen was already prepared, he was still taken aback by the speed of the Black-Winged Panther. Generally, monsters with wind in their name weren't slow. With another step and the surge of blood energy, Su Jingzhen easily dodged the Black-Winged Panther's claw. Crack! Su Jingzhen dodged, but the tree under his feet took the full force of the Black-Winged Panther's claw. With a resounding crack, the tree beneath Su Jingzhen's feet snapped. However, constantly evading wasn't Su Jingzhen's fighting style. After dodging the first attack, he swung the black brick in his hand directly towards the Black-Winged Panther's back. Bang! This blow could have easily killed the Black-Winged Panther, but its speed was indeed too fast. As the brick approached, it only landed on the Black-Winged Panther's hind leg. The close-quarters combat ability and style of the Black-Winged Panther were somewhat similar to body cultivation. If this creature had reached the second level, it wouldn't have been so easy for Su Jingzhen to hit it with the brick. Raw. At this moment, the black-winged panther let out a miserable cry, and its 2-meter-long body fell to the ground once again. Su Jingzhen's previous blow had been full force. Now the black-winged panther's right hind leg was completely crippled. The ferocious gleam in its eyes was accompanied by subconscious fear. It realized that this human was not easy to deal with and harbored a slight intention to retreat. However, Su Jingzhen's mouth curled into a warm smile. "You came here and now you want to leave. Isn't it a bit too late for that?" In just one round, the roles of hunter and prey between Su Jingzhen and the black-winged panther instantly reversed. As Su Jingzhen looked at the black-winged panther again, there was a hint of excitement in his eyes. "I've bought a lot of meat before, but it's all from non-ranked wild beasts. I've never tasted leopard meat before." "It's raw." Seeing Su Jingzhen approaching, the black-winged panther roared again. Its claws waved, generating a violent energy wave that instantly severed 2 large trees beside it. While the trees fell towards Su Jingzhen, the black-winged panther darted away. However, with its right hind leg disabled, its speed was greatly reduced. Escape was easier said than done. Without even looking at the 2 falling trees, Su Jingzhen's blood energy surged once again, pushing his speed to the extreme. After all, he was at the flesh-body spiritual embryo's second layer of body cultivation. Moving through this dense forest, Su Jingzhen felt as if he were walking on flat ground. In just a dozen breaths, he caught up with the black-winged panther, which was still fleeing. With a powerful kick from his right foot against a nearby large tree, Su Jingzhen shot out like a cannonball. He landed directly on the black-winged panther's back. Then, raising the black brick in his hand high, he brought it down heavily. The brick struck solidly on the black-winged panther's head. "Roar!" The black-winged panther let out another unwilling roar. The ferocious aura on its body instantly calmed down. Continuing forward due to inertia, it crashed into a large tree and fell silent. It takes 2 bricks to kill a first-level black-winged panther. If this creature really attacks a chirofining stage cultivator, even those in the later stages of chirofining might have trouble dealing with it. Looking at the black-winged panther's corpse, Su Jingzhen couldn't help but express his thoughts. He was quite satisfied with his current strength. However, as he looked at the 2-meter-long corpse of the black-winged panther in front of him, the gleam in Su Jingzhen's eyes became brighter. This was a great source of meat. But just as he was about to store the black-winged panther's corpse in his storage bracelet, he suddenly noticed something strange. From the cracked skull of the black-winged panther, a greyish airflow seemed to rush out and then enter the black brick in his hand. Ahem. Seeing this scene, Su Jingzhen was immediately stunned. "What's that?" After obtaining the black brick, he had examined it many times. However, apart from its hardness, there didn't seem to be anything special about it. And what just happened, he was sure that he wasn't hallucinating. What exactly is that thing? Was it absorbed by the black brick? Su Jingzhen muttered gravely to himself, channeling both his blood chi and the spiritual energy of the second layer of chirofining into the black brick. However, after several explorations, he still didn't detect any clues. This made him frown even more. Despite the lack of results from his investigation, Su Jingzhen couldn't help but feel a hint of excitement. Maybe he could develop some unexpected effects of this black brick. He was already quite satisfied with the black brick as it was, but if he could unlock some unexpected abilities, it would be even better. Thinking about this, he decided not to dwell on it further, and directly stored the black-winged panther's corpse into his storage bracelet. Then, he had no intention of seeking out other demonic beasts to kill for experimentation on Clearwind Mountain. He climbed back onto the treetops and quickly descended the mountain. This time, he didn't encounter any other demonic beasts along the way. In less than half an hour, he returned to the Evil Moon sect and his courtyard. The trip to Clearwind Mountain with Luo Yuebai had taken only half a stick of incense, while his return trip on foot took nearly half an hour. The difference in speed between flying and traveling on foot was indeed significant. Although it was already late at night, Many buildings in the evil moon sect were still brightly lit. However, his courtyard was quiet on all sides. Even the 6 maids forcibly arranged by Luo Yuebai had already gone to rest early. Su Jingzhen quietly slipped back into his room without disturbing anyone. After tidying up his thoughts a bit, he went to rest. The night passed uneventfully. The next morning, just as Su Jingzhen got up, the golden letters appeared before him once again. The fixed points arrived as scheduled. Shuangjiang and Zhang Ziu's fixed points remained unchanged, totaling 23 points. Remaining usable points, 177. Although there were only 490 days left until the permanent destruction of his Danshan, Su Jingzhen wasn't worried. He believed that as long as his strength and status in the cultivation world reached a certain level, there would be a solution for his Danshan issue. And judging by his current rate of progress, 490 days were more than enough. I should deal with the black-winged panther's meat. If it stays too long, it won't be fresh anymore. After stretching lazily, Su Jingzhen thought about the black-winged panther he had killed last night, feeling a surge of hunger. His courtyard was equipped with complete facilities, including a kitchen. However, the kitchen had been idle for quite some time, since most of the cultivators who had lived in the Huiyang sect were already powerful and didn't cook. It was only after he moved in that Xianxia and the other 5 maids, who either had weak cultivation or no cultivation at all, needed food like spiritual rice to sustain themselves. Thus, he had cleaned up this kitchen again. At this moment, there were already 2 maids in the kitchen cooking. One of them was standing in front of the stove, clumsily starting a fire with her face and forehead covered in some black ash. She looked oddly cute. When Su Jingzhen entered, the 2 maids were startled, then immediately stood up nervously and respectfully bowed to him. "Greetings, Master Su." They knew well that the moods of these cultivators in the demonic sects could be unpredictable. Moreover, Su Jingzhen suddenly coming to the kitchen was highly unusual. Seeing this, Su Jingzhen was also taken aback for a moment. He waved his hand at them. "You can leave for now." He didn't explain much, and of course, the 2 maids didn't dare to ask him anything further. They simply nodded obediently and walked out of the kitchen, standing in the small courtyard outside, feeling uncertain. "Why does Master Su want to use the kitchen?" one of them asked, and they both shook their heads in confusion. Su Jingzhen didn't pay attention to what the 2 maids might be thinking. He simply took out the black-winged panther's corpse from his storage bracelet and picked up a kitchen knife to start dissecting the creature. Although it was his first time doing this, Su Jingzhen seemed to have a natural talent for it. He easily dissected the panther's skin and flesh from its limbs. For an ordinary chirofining stage cultivator, every part of this black-winged panther would be valuable, and any piece could be sold for a high price. However, as a second-grade alchemist, Su Jingzhen didn't care about those things like internal organs. He only wanted the meat rich in blood kai. When he chopped open the panther's head, he found a small, round bead about the size of a little finger. The bead was transparent, emitting a pure demonic energy. Su Jingzhen's eyes lit up with excitement. Could this be the legendary demonic beast crystal core? I didn't expect even a first-grade demonic beast to have one, but why does it look a bit different from what's described in the legends? Although Su Jingzhen had spent the past 2.5 years in the lowest ranks of the cultivation world, he had still heard of demonic beast crystal cores. It was said that most demonic beast crystal cores were extremely violent, and although the energy within could be absorbed by cultivators, it had to be tempered through special methods. Otherwise, ordinary cultivators could be overwhelmed by the violent energy and die. However, after special tempering, most of the energy within the crystal core would be tamed. At this moment, Su Jingzhen suddenly thought of the greyish stream of air that had surged out of the black-winged panther's head last night. His heart trembled once again. Could it be because of the black brick? The light in Su Jingzhen's eyes grew even brighter. If that was the case, the black brick would be worthy of being called a treasure just for its ability to absorb the violent intent from the demonic beast crystal core. With his emotions still reeling from the discovery, Su Jingzhen didn't dwell on it further. He couldn't confirm anything at the moment. After solemnly storing the demonic beast crystal core into his storage bracelet, his gaze fell on the processed meat in front of him. The kitchen was well stocked with various condiments, and and soon, a tantalizing aroma wafted from it. The two maids who were still standing in front of the kitchen were suddenly struck by the aroma. "This smells so good." "But did Master Su ask us to leave so he could cook by himself? I'm really curious about what he's doing." Just the aroma alone made these two maids salivate, unable to resist their hunger. At the same time, Luo Yuebai subconsciously walked to the courtyard outside Su Jingzhen's residence. "I'm already getting used to this. Friend Su should still be on Clear Wind Mountain at this time." Muttering to himself, Luo Yuebai prepared to turn back. But then his nose twitched. What is this smell? Following the scent permeating the air, Luo Yuebai autonomously walked into Su Jingzhen's courtyard. He made his way to the kitchen. Not only him, but Xianxia and the other 4 maidservants had also caught wind of the scent permeating the air. Curiosity led them to gather in the courtyard. Seeing Luo Yuebai's arrival, the 6 maidservants were immediately frightened and hurriedly bowed. "Greetings, Lord Luo." Luo Yuebai paid no attention to them, his gaze fixed on the kitchen door, with a hint of curiosity in his eyes. "Who's cooking?" In response to Lord Luo, "It's Master Su." The 2 maids who had been chased out of the kitchen earlier nervously responded. Hearing this, Luo Yuebai's curiosity grew even stronger. Friend Su has this culinary skill. Speaking to himself, he stepped into the kitchen, and as soon as he entered, the scent became even richer. Several dishes were already laid out on the table. Stewed, braised, they all looked mouthwatering. Luo Yuebai, a cultivator at the foundation establishment stage, had long abstained from worldly pleasures. But now he couldn't help but salivate. "Friend Su, you're back. Did you make all of this?" Luo Yuebai was genuinely astonished. At this point, he didn't bother with formalities with Su Jingzhen. Without waiting for an invitation, he sat at the table, picked up his chopsticks, and began to taste. Just tasting a piece of braised leopard meat completely opened Luo Yuebai's taste buds. Seeing this, Su Jingzhen thought to himself, this guy's eating habits are so similar to Shuangjiang's. Today's meat was prepared in abundance, but judging from Luo Yuebai's eating habits, he was still worried it wouldn't be enough, so he didn't even bother to invite the 6 maids outside. He simply scooped up a bowl of spiritual rice and sat opposite Luo Yuebai. Neither of them spoke during the meal. Both of them wolfed down their food, and their eating habits were equally uncouth. Before long, most of the various preparations of black-winged leopard meat had been devoured by the 2 of them. The amount that Su Jingzhen prepared today was actually for his 6 maids. So even with the formidable appetites of the 2, they couldn't finish it all. After wiping his mouth, Luo Yuebai returned to his elegant demeanor. Su Jingzhen couldn't help but smile. Isn't it said that cultivators have to practice fasting after reaching a certain level? There was a hint of teasing in Su Jingzhen's words. But Luo Yuebai also smiled. There is such a saying, but that's because they haven't met a great chef like friend Su. He wasn't joking. Because Su Jingzhen suddenly saw golden text in front of him. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining usable points, 183. What surprised Su Jingzhen was that this triggered a 3-hit combo from Luo Yuebai. Alchemists, to some extent, could be considered advanced chefs. And in the cultivation world, besides Su Jingzhen, there might not be any second-grade alchemists willing to cook. Revealing this unexpected skill naturally conquered countless people. Am I really winning them over with my cooking skills? Su Jingzhen thought to himself, his face slightly unnatural. Because as soon as Luo Yuebai's words fell, he suddenly saw in Luo Yuebai's eyes a hint of heat. There's a line I won't cross, no matter what. Luo Yuebai smiled and asked again, by the way, now that we've finished eating, I forgot to ask friend Su, what meat were we eating just now? Hearing this, Su Jingzhen pointed to the intact black leopard skin in the corner. Last night when I went down the mountain, I happened to encounter a black-winged leopard and killed it. Hearing this, Luo Yuebai looked somewhat surprised. Judging from the fur, it should be a first-grade black-winged leopard. it was indeed unlucky to encounter friend Su. Luo Yuebai nodded knowingly. But Su Jingzhen smiled. When I was dealing with this guy just now, I also prepared a gift for brother Luo. Hearing Su Jingzhen's words, Luo Yuebai's eyes suddenly lit up. Before he could inquire, Su Jingzhen pointed to the bloody long strip hanging on the kitchen wall, about a foot long. Luo Yuebai's gaze followed, growing more puzzled. Subconsciously he asked, "What is this?" Su Jingzhen smiled again. "This thing is beneficial for cultivators like brother Luo, who often visit the Flower Moon Pavilion." The female cultivators at the Flower Moon Pavilion are really too tempting. Taking this back and brewing it into a jar of wine will surely make brother Luo's spear even more unyielding. Upon hearing this, Luo Yuebai suddenly reacted, his expression stunned. He never expected that Su Jingzhen, who appeared refined and gentlemanly, would suddenly make such suggestive remarks. Su Jingzhen didn't notice that by now, Luo Yuebai's ears were tinged with a blush. After a moment of hesitation, Luo Yuebai spoke with some difficulty. "So, that thing is?" Su Jingzhen nodded and smiled. "That's right. It's from a first-grade black-winged leopard, its whip. When I've improved my strength someday, I'll go up the mountain to hunt for tiger whips, dragon whips and such, which might be even more potent. By then, when you go to the Flower Moon Pavilion again, you won't need any support to walk out." As Su Jingzhen spoke, there was a hint of pride in his eyes. But this wasn't his original intention. However, the heated gaze Luo Yuebai had given him earlier made him a bit uncomfortable. So now, deliberately mentioning the Flower Moon Pavilion and speaking suggestively, he was hinting to Luo Yuebai that he was a normal man who liked women. He was not interested in swords and fencing. But upon hearing Su Jingzhen's words, Luo Yuebai's face suddenly became less natural, with a faint blush on his cheeks. But he had to go along with it. "Why yes, indeed, it's a good item." As he said this, Su Jingzhen stood up and put the whip in a jar, handing it to Luo Yuebai. Seeing this, Luo Yuebai still maintained that unnatural smile on his face as he stood up, taking the jar. "I suddenly remembered that there are some matters in the Evil Moon sect that need to be dealt with. After all, the celebration of the Evil Moon sect is in 2 days. Since friend Su has safely returned, I can rest assured. As always, if you need anything, feel free to come find me." With that, he left directly. Watching Luo Yuebai leave, Su Jingzhen couldn't help but smile. Perhaps this is the difference between cultivating Kai and cultivating the body. I admit that the vitality in these black-winged leopard meats is abundant, but I didn't expect it would make brother Luo's face turn as red as if he were in a sauna. He'll probably need some time to digest this vitality. Then he chuckled again. "This is enough to see that brother Luo is indeed a bit deficient. It's time to make up for it. Damn it. This guy actually wants me to use this thing to brew wine." Luo Yuebai almost fled back to his own residence. The blush on his face still hadn't completely faded, but on his way back, he couldn't find a suitable place to dispose of this thing. Feeling a bit angry and helpless, Luo Yuebai couldn't help but feel a bit complicated. Should I reveal my true identity? In my current position, it's really inconvenient. After all, once the Evil Moon sect's branch in Linjiang City is completely stable, I'll have to resume my original identity. Normally, he joked casually with other cultivators, but today, Su Jingzhen's suggestive remarks made him a bit overwhelmed. Reporting to Master Yue, all preparations have been made, and the celebration can begin at any time. Shall we still proceed as scheduled, 2 days from now? As Luo Yuebai was thinking, a Foundation establishment staged demonic cultivator suddenly stood outside his palace, reporting like so. Luo Yuebai turned to look at the demonic cultivator, raising an eyebrow, already. As a demonic cultivator, I've never been attached to trivial matters. Flexibility is key, so since everything is ready ahead of schedule, let's post the announcement today and hold the ceremony tomorrow. With little thought, he made this decision. As the demonic cultivator prepared to leave after receiving the command, Luo Yuebai's gaze fell on the jar he had brought back. A cunning smile played at the corners of his mouth. "Wait a moment, come in." Hearing this, the demonic cultivator outside the door looked puzzled, but stepped into the hall. "I wonder what orders Master Yue has," he asked. Luo Yuebai pointed to the jar on the ground. "Take this thing out to air dry, then find a jar of spiritual wine to soak it in. Remember, find the strongest wine. Huh. The demonic cultivator was momentarily stunned, then suddenly realized what was inside the jar. Looking at Luo Yuebai with a strange expression, he hesitated. Seeing this, Luo Yuebai didn't wait for more questions and continued, "Don't ask too much, just do as I say." Hearing this, the demonic cultivator's lips curved into a smirk. "I'm familiar with this matter. Rest assured, Master Yue, I'll make sure you're satisfied." With a flick of his sleeve, the jar on the ground disappeared without a trace. Then he took his leave. Watching him leave, Luo Yuebai's lips curled into a smile once again. "For Brother Su, I've prepared everything." Meanwhile, in the kitchen, after tidying up the remnants of the meal he and Luo Yuebai had eaten, Su Jingzhen walked out of the kitchen, looking at the 6 maids standing in front of him. He smiled and said, "There's still some left in the pot and on the table. If you don't mind, you can taste it, but I must remind you not to overeat, it's not good for you." In the cultivation world, there was a distinction between superior and inferior, and although Su Jingzhen didn't mind eating with his 6 maids, it was appropriate for him and Luo Yuebai to eat first. Upon hearing this, the maids all showed expressions of surprise and gratitude. 5 of them immediately bowed to Su Jingzhen and thanked him. "Thank you, Lord Su. Thank you, Lord Su." The aroma still lingered, and they were already drooling. Naturally, they went straight into the kitchen. Xianxia's expression was a bit complicated, but she was extremely curious about what Su Jingzhen had done. And without spiritual roots, practicing mundane martial arts was considered low-level body refining, so she needed the spiritual energy contained in food even more. Seeing this, Su Jingzhen smiled faintly and didn't mind. He knew that in the days to come, he would probably often visit Clear Wind Mountain, so he wouldn't lack the flesh and blood of these demonic beasts. After leaving the kitchen, Su Jingzhen wandered around the Evil Moon sect for a while. Then, almost subconsciously, he left the Evil Moon sect and went to the treasure-gathering pavilion. Previously, he had used 3 breaking through adversity pills, plus promised to help Feng Qingye with a favor in exchange for the Black Mountain pill furnace. Now he still had 12 breaking through adversity pills on hand, which he didn't need for himself. The ingredients and prescription for breaking through adversity pills were promised to be exchanged for 10 finished pills. Su Jingzhen didn't like owing others favors most of the time. Still not concealing anything, he swaggered directly onto the 2nd floor of the treasure-gathering pavilion. This time, Feng Qingye was as usual, sitting on a chair at the top of the stairs, holding a wine glass, doing nothing. As enchanting as ever. "Master Su, are you here so early because you missed me?" Seeing Su Jingzhen ascend the stairs, Feng Qingye's eyes suddenly lit up. The familiar banter continued. But Su Jingzhen seemed immune to her words, habitually avoiding unnecessary chatter. He went straight to the point. "The promise I made to Miss Feng has been fulfilled. You may inspect it. Also, I'd like to inquire about the ingredients for the breaking through adversity pill." As he spoke, Su Jingzhen casually took out a jade bottle containing 10 breaking through adversity pills and tossed it to Feng Qingye. She was startled for a moment, then immediately became serious. Receiving the jade bottle and opening it to inspect its contents, her expression once again turned to shock. Are these all made from the ingredients used in the previous breaking through adversity pills? Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining available points 189. Before Su Jingzhen could respond, a row of golden words appeared before him. The impact of these 10 breaking through adversity pills directly triggered a 3-strike emotional connection from Feng Qingye's side. Feng Qingye thought that the initial 3 breaking through adversity pills had already consumed nearly 80 sets of ingredients for Su Jingzhen, almost reaching his limit. But she never expected him to produce 10 more. And Feng Qingye knew that these 10 pills were not even Su Jingzhen's limit. 80 sets of ingredients were enough to promote a 1st-grade alchemist to 2nd grade, or even barely qualify as a 3rd grade, which was already quite difficult. Meanwhile, being able to refine a dozen more finished pills was beyond the explanation of just being a genius. This was monstrous. Looking at Su Jingzhen again, Feng Qingye's gaze became even more fiery and expectant. Just the matter of the breaking through adversity pills alone made her feel like choosing Su Jingzhen might have been the right decision. This time, some of what rightfully belonged to her might really be obtained. And when Feng Qingye inspected the quality of the breaking through adversity pills in the bottle again, she was even more stunned. These 10 pills were all refined in that strange place. During the refinement process, they absorbed a lot of spiritual energy from that strange place. These are top grade breaking through adversity pills. Emotional connection +2. Emotional connection +2. Remaining available points, 193. As Feng Qingye was shocked by this, another 2 consecutive emotional connections appeared. Su Jingzhen felt a slight excitement in his heart. He had already gained 10 points in just one day. He couldn't help but wonder, what was the difference with this top-grade breaking through adversity pill? When he successfully refined it, he found that the breaking through adversity pills produced in that strange place were slightly more rounded. "What's the difference?" Su Jingzhen blurted out. Feng Qingye took a deep breath and stored the 10 breaking through adversity pills in her storage ring. She smiled and said, "If you insist on asking about the difference, there is indeed a difference. Different qualities of the same pill will naturally bring different effects. Although the difference is not particularly large. As they say, every medicine has its poison, and there will inevitably be some impurities in the pills, but the higher the quality of the pill, the fewer impurities there are. Like these 10 pills, they can be considered as top-grade breaking through adversity pills. Master Su has already refined the breaking through adversity pill to the extreme, so there are almost no impurities left. He had already reached the level of an almost third-grade alchemist, but Feng Qingye still needed to explain such common knowledge. In this regard, Su Jingzhen could be considered a genius in the alchemy world. Su Jingzhen understood and nodded. He had been focusing on alchemy and hadn't been enthusiastic about understanding these things. Then he looked at Feng Qingye and said, "In that case, I am clear about the formula and materials for the breaking through adversity pill. Does Miss Feng have any extra materials for the breaking through adversity pill? I may be interested in purchasing them. Or does Miss Feng have formulas for other second-grade pills?" With the Black Mountain alchemy furnace and the enhancement from that strange place, Su Jingzhen was extremely confident in alchemy. And he was almost close to accumulating 200 points now. He had already decided to upgrade his wood attribute spiritual roots to a higher level. By then, the bonus to alchemy would be even greater. However, Feng Qingye was a bit embarrassed by Su Jingzhen's request and shook her head slightly. "I apologize, Master Su. The batch of breaking through adversity pill materials hasn't arrived yet. As you know, Linjiang City is a bit remote, and things tend to arrive a bit late." Su Jingzhen nodded, understanding the situation. He immediately said, "In that case, I'll take my leave." With that, he turned around and walked down the stairs. He still had 2 breaking through adversity pills and an extremely pure first-grade monster crystal in his hand. In his opinion, these 2 items could at least be exchanged for about 180 sets of materials, or even a formula for another second-grade pill. Since Feng Qingye didn't have them here, there was no need for him to stay any longer. Feng Qingye's expression was slightly stunned. She hadn't expected Su Jingzhen to leave so decisively. Soon she couldn't help but smile bitterly. Is this guy really not interested in women? I'm not some ferocious beast. The cultivators she had interacted with before would always try to linger a little longer with her. But Su Jingzhen seemed to consider every extra second spent here as a great harm to him. "Hey handsome, come up and play Tilda." After leaving the treasure-gathering pavilion, Su Jingzhen passed by the Flower Moon Pavilion, where several coquettish voices called out to him. The female cultivators at the Flower Moon Pavilion had even less fabric on them than Feng Qingye, and they were actively flirting with him. However, Su Jingzhen only glanced at them before leaving directly. It wasn't that he was a paragon of virtue, but rather, after spending time with Feng Qingye, he had developed a strong willpower. These intentionally flirtatious female cultivators were no match for Feng Qingye, even if he had been reckless and flirtatious when he first crossed over. Now, on the main street of Linjiang City, besides the treasure-gathering pavilion, there seemed to be no place worth his visit. As for Peach Blossom Alley, apart from Zhang Ziyu, he didn't have many acquaintances there. Teaching was out of the question for him, so he didn't have much attachment to Peach Blossom Alley either. Moreover, Linjiang City was still not peaceful, and he couldn't forget about the incident with that Foundation establishment cultivator the last time. Soon, Su Jingzhen returned to the Evil Moon sect. Seeing that it was still early, he didn't hesitate to head towards the canyon on Clear Wind Mountain. Even though he had returned at night yesterday, he still remembered the route. As he climbed the mountain, Su Jingzhen deliberately slowed down his pace. He hoped to encounter 1 or 2 first-level monster beasts to practice, and to test if his black brick could really clear the violent intent within the monster beast crystals. However, to his regret, he didn't encounter even one monster beast that had reached the first level until he reached the deepest part of the canyon. The only creatures he encountered were a few ordinary wild monkeys. He didn't mind and continued walking deeper into the canyon. With the mark left by Shuang Jiang guiding him, he easily entered the strange place once again. Taking a deep breath, Su Jingzhen cleared his mind of all distractions and walked another 10 steps towards the center of the strange place. Here was still the utmost position that his flesh-body spiritual embryo could endure at the second layer. Feeling the pressure, he once again practiced the Python scale's power. As he moved, the power within the black-winged leopard meat he had eaten that morning began to dissolve, merging into his own flesh and blood. The special energy in the air involuntarily flowed into his body once again. The sharp sword intent within the dense fog continued to refine his body. This time, Su Jingzhen surprisingly stopped after practicing the technique for the 10th time. Every time he came to cultivate in this strange place, he could feel the growth of his own blood and Kai power. This made him extremely satisfied. This time, he didn't have any extra medicinal materials for alchemy. After resting in place for a while, and absorbing a considerable amount of blood and Kai power through the 3 human body secret repositories, he once again began to practice the Python scale's power. He didn't know how many times he had fully practiced the Python scale's power. The blood and Kai power in his body was already extremely close to the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo. But it seemed that he was still lacking some kind of opportunity to break through. Su Jingzhen sat down directly and muttered to himself, "It seems that it's still somewhat difficult to directly break through to the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo today." As he spoke to himself, Su Jingzhen realized that the special energy in this strange place seemed to be accumulating within his body, not fully integrating, as if it needed some kind of guidance. Realizing this, Su Jingzhen suddenly took out the remaining body tempering fluid from his storage bracelet. Today, I, Su Jingzhen, will indeed break through to the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo. Feeling frustrated that despite having enough blood and Kai power to break through, he still couldn't, he became annoyed. After some thought, he directly opened the bottle containing the remaining 1/3 of the body tempering fluid and poured it into his mouth. Since this stuff is ultimately going to be absorbed into the body, I might as well do it all at once. However, at this moment, he didn't know that this action would be quite explosive, even in the entire body-refining world. The body-tempering liquid was extremely spicy as it entered his mouth, instantly causing a stinging sensation. It felt like he had a mouthful of sulfuric acid. Before Su Jingzhen could react, it transformed into a stream of energy and surged straight down his throat. In that first moment, Su Jingzhen regretted it. It was only because of his fervent desire to break through to the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo that he had made such a rash decision. But even as an alchemist, he couldn't concoct a remedy for regret. Though it was only 1/3 of a bottle, the energy contained within the body-tempering liquid was quite formidable. And the energy specifically used for body tempering was incredibly aggressive. Even though he was a body cultivator, his internal organs were relatively fragile. The first to face the trial was his stomach. A wave of intense pain surged through him, making Su Jingzhen feel as if his stomach was being scorched by fire. Cold sweat immediately broke out on his forehead. As a transmigrator, Su Jingzhen's willpower was already quite strong. But even so, the pain was so unbearable that he couldn't help but cry out in agony. In the end, he paid the price for his recklessness. Very quickly, the energy from the body-tempering liquid surged into Su Jingzhen's limbs, bones, and meridians. The excruciating pain instantly spread throughout his entire body. Fucking. Su Jingzhen immediately started writhing on the ground in pain, his body constantly twisting. Sweat mixed with blood oozed from every pore. Soon he became a bloody mess. However, amidst this extreme pain, Su Jingzhen keenly sensed that the vitality within his body was indeed increasing slowly. Although his internal organs were being battered, he remained conscious. Realizing this, Su Jingzhen mustered immense willpower to force himself to stand. Then he began to perform the movements from the Python Scales Power technique. Sometimes he moved like a snake, sometimes like a python. Although his body was trembling continuously, his movements were surprisingly accurate. If Xianxia were here, she would undoubtedly curse him for being a fool, while simultaneously praising his current tenacity. As Su Jingzhen practiced the Python Scales Power in this state, the energy from both his blood and the body-tempering liquid continued to be absorbed by his flesh. The previously damaged meridians seemed to be slowly repaired as the new energy flowed through them. Supported by the energy from the body-tempering liquid, Su Jingzhen practiced the Python Scales Power for nearly half an hour without feeling any fatigue. However, the 1/3 bottle of body-tempering liquid was completely consumed during his practice. At this point, the pain within Su Jingzhen's body gradually subsided. After enduring the extreme pain, he finally reaped the benefits. His body cultivation had indeed reached the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo. Body cultivation, open 3 secret chamber. Flesh-body level, flesh-body spiritual embryo, 3rd layer. Next secret chamber, labor palace point left, 0/200. Looking at his current body cultivation status, a smile appeared on Su Jingzhen's lips. Then, his entire body collapsed onto the ground, letting the spiritual energy of this peculiar place nourish his flesh. The previous situation was quite perilous. He felt as if he had just walked through the gates of hell. Reckless indeed. Luckily, only 1/3 of the bottle was used. If it had been even a bit more, I might have killed myself today. He let out a long sigh, murmuring to himself. He remembered that when Xianxia helped him use the body-tempering liquid, it was always diluted into a large tub of water for him to absorb slowly. Drinking the body-tempering liquid straight was probably something Su Jingzhen alone had done in the entire history of body cultivation. Lying on the ground, Su Jingzhen examined himself internally. He was pleasantly surprised. He discovered that although the initial phase was extremely painful, his internal organs seemed to have strengthened somewhat after his recovery. The effects of the body-tempering liquid not only enhanced his limbs and flesh, but also his internal organs. Su Jingzhen's eyes lit up suddenly. So, if I manage the dosage correctly, have I discovered a new method for body cultivation? He was somewhat excited. The body-tempering liquid, when diluted for medicinal baths, could not be fully absorbed even after practicing the Python Scales Power nearly 10 times under Xianxia's guidance, especially when his body was extremely depleted. Now, using his method, not a single drop was wasted. Su Jingzhen then picked up another full bottle of body-tempering liquid. After smiling for a moment, he decided not to try again. Although the effects were impressive, the extreme pain was something he didn't want to experience again anytime soon. After lying on the ground for about an hour and fully regaining his strength, Su Jingzhen stood up again. Now, at the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo, he wanted to see how far he could venture into the thick mist. The sword energy within the mist remained sharp. This time, even though he had only advanced by a small realm, he managed to take 15 steps forward. At this position, the special energy contained in the air became even more concentrated. His curiosity about the origin of this energy and what lay at the center grew even stronger. However, it was evident that the 3rd layer of the flesh-body spiritual embryo was still far from sufficient to reach the center. After a brief attempt, Su Jingzhen gave up. Looking at the sky, he realized it was already late in the afternoon after all his efforts. Having expended a lot of energy earlier, his stomach now grumbled loudly. Time to head down the mountain. After Luo Yuebai issued that order today, the entire Evil Moon sect became incredibly busy. As the one in charge, Luo Yuebai leisurely wandered to Su Jingzhen's courtyard once more. This time, he held a golden invitation with great solemnity. However, even after entering Su Jingzhen's exclusive courtyard, it remained dark and deserted. Even with his spiritual senses fully extended, he couldn't sense Su Jingzhen's presence. Did friend Su go to Clear Wind Mountain alone? Luo Yuebai raised an eyebrow. Just as he was about to turn and leave, a familiar voice suddenly sounded from behind him. Friend Luo, I noticed the disciples of Evil Moon sect are quite busy setting something up in the front square. Could it be that the Evil Moon sect celebration is about to commence? Su Jingzhen's tone carried a hint of curiosity as he spoke. Joy flickered in Luo Yuebai's eyes as he turned around and indeed saw Su Jingzhen. Friend Su, you're quite the early bird these days. With a playful remark, Luo Yuebai continued, Indeed, everything is ready. The celebration has been moved up to tomorrow. As he spoke, he handed the golden invitation to Su Jingzhen. Friend Su, you promised to attend our Evil Moon sect celebration. For that, I've prepared a special gift for you tomorrow. Gift? Su Jingzhen's heart skipped a beat when he heard this key word in Luo Yuebai's words. Seeing the smile on Luo Yuebai's face, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. But he still smiled and said, Since I promised friend Luo, I will definitely attend. You were even kind enough to bring a golden invitation. How courteous of you. Luo Yuebai responded with a smile. For someone important, naturally a golden invitation is necessary. I won't disturb your rest any longer. It was clear that Su Jingzhen had just come down from Clear Wind Mountain. After the morning's experience, Luo Yuebai was wary of staying too long, fearing Su Jingzhen might pull out another mysterious whip. As Luo Yuebai left, Su Jingzhen looked at the golden invitation in his hand, furrowing his brow again. This friend Luo, will he put me on the spot again tomorrow? Muttering to himself, he felt somewhat helpless. Regarding the Evil Moon sect's celebration tomorrow, he just wanted to be a silent participant. He didn't want to be in the spotlight again. The last time when Huyang branch was destroyed and he was forced into the public eye, it was not by choice. Rubbing his stomach, Su Jingzhen didn't return to his room but sneaked into the kitchen. His stomach had been growling ever since he was on Clear Wind Mountain. He found a rack and skewered a leg of the black wind leopard. A small fireball spell ignited the fire. Soon the leopard leg was sizzling and dripping with oil. The tantalizing aroma naturally spread out again. At least the 6 maidservants in the same courtyard as him could smell it. However, these 6 were not feeling very well at the moment. In the morning, Su Jingzhen had warned them not to overeat, but they couldn't resist. Even though the black wind leopard was only a first-level demonic beast, its flesh contained abundant blood energy. Of the 6 maidservants, only Xianxia had no spiritual roots and was not a cultivator. The other 5 had cultivation levels not exceeding the 3rd stage of Kai refining. Eating too much was naturally hard to digest. At this moment, the 5 maidservants were each meditating in their rooms, their faces flushed and bodies drenched in sweat as if in a sauna. Xianxia, on the other hand, was continuously practicing her mundane martial arts in her courtyard, trying to digest the blood energy. Despite smelling the aroma again, she dared not get any closer. Half an hour later, Su Jingzhen, satisfied and full, patted his belly and returned to his room. He didn't plan on practicing Python Scale's power to fully digest the meal. Instead, he indulged in the rare pleasure of eating and then sleeping. The next morning, Su Jingzhen woke up early. Today, with the addition of his daily fixed points, his remaining points would surpass 200, allowing him to enhance the quality of his spiritual roots. Golden characters floated before Su Jingzhen's eyes once again. Days until host's Danshan shatters, 489 days. Daily fixed points, Shuangjiang, 15 Zhangzhu, for Feng Qingya 2 Luo Yuebai, 1. Remaining available points, 216. Without Shuangjiang, collecting 200 points is indeed slower, he remarked, feeling a bit smug despite the reality. Metal Spiritual Root, Ordinary, 23/100. Wood Spiritual Root, Mysterious, 0/200. Water Spiritual Root, Ordinary, 25/100. Fire Spiritual Root, Ordinary, 89/100. Earth Spiritual Root, Ordinary, 32/100. Looking at his spiritual root attributes once more, Su Jingzhen didn't hesitate and added the points to his wood spiritual root. His main skill was alchemy, and his current level of body cultivation provided sufficient combat strength. Wood spiritual root, Earth, 0/1000. Remaining available points, 16. The attribute of his wood spiritual root instantly changed. After adding the 200 points, it indeed broke through from mysterious to earth. But the next level required a staggering 1,000 points. This was something Su Jingzhen hadn't expected. Did it really increase fivefold? It seems the gap between earth and heavenly is quite significant. After the initial surprise, Su Jingzhen became even more excited. If he could one day save up 1,000 points to break through to heavenly wood spiritual root, how much stronger would his alchemical abilities become? He was very much looking forward to it. However, with my earth-grade wood spiritual roots, the pill formation rate of the breaking through adversity pill should improve even more. Su Jingzhen couldn't resist the urge to try his hand at alchemy. Unfortunately, he had run out of the necessary medicinal herbs. After briefly composing himself, Su Jingzhen stepped out of his room. Once he had tidied his appearance, he headed towards the Evil Moon Sect's plaza. Having promised Luo Yuebai, he was determined to attend the celebration, regardless of what might happen. Before he could leave his courtyard, he noticed Xianxia standing at the gate, seemingly waiting for him. Seeing Su Jingzhen, Xianxia's expression remained complex, but she finally spoke. "Master Su, may I accompany you to observe the Evil Moon Sect celebration today?" Su Jingzhen was slightly surprised by Xianxia's request, but nodded nonetheless. "If you wish to go, then go ahead. You belong to my courtyard, and no one in the Evil Moon Sect will stop you." With that, he nodded again at Xianxia and walked away. He certainly didn't want to bring Xianxia along, lest it cause misunderstandings. He already felt he had done enough for her. If she had a special constitution, it was her fortune. Even if she didn't, staying in his courtyard and working there would ensure her safety as long as the Evil Moon Sect stood. Seeing Su Jingzhen leave, Xianxia's expression grew more complex, and she sighed inwardly but still headed towards the plaza. She wanted to see if there was a chance her parents would be present today. Su Jingzhen wandered around the Evil Moon Sect for a bit before slowly making his way to the plaza. Yesterday, he had seen many Evil Moon Sect disciples busily preparing the area. Now, the plaza was filled with thousands of seats. Many graceful female cultivators moved about, placing spiritual fruits and wines on the tables. Towards the back, some people were already seated. Su Jingzhen found a spot in a corner and sat down, keeping a low profile. Are there really this many cultivators in Linjiang City? He wondered. He knew that many of Linjiang City's original cultivators had left, leaving only those at the lowest levels, much like he used to be. Such bottom-tier cultivators might watch from the edges, but certainly wouldn't qualify for a seat at this event. As he pondered this, he suddenly felt several gazes directed at him. Startled, he looked in the direction of the gazes and saw a charming figure walking towards him. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe and like the video and comment down if anything wrong in the story.